So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women's Health Matters podcast, where we have really amazing speakers on talking about their journey and story and how they help other people through coaching, through reflexology, through acupuncture, through whatever therapy that they do. So today I'm joined by Patrick Mercier, and I'm going to let him tell us about what he does. So hi, Patrick, and thank you for coming on to this podcast.
Lucy, it's my pleasure to be on this podcast. Absolutely. Good to see you again.
Good.
So tell me, what do you want to know from me?
So I had listened to you on an event, and I met you through a networking group called YourHolistic Academy. And I've heard you speaking lots of times, and I was really inspired by your story of how you changed your life from burnout and corporate work and the big salary to really restarting your life again and becoming a life coach and a business coach.
Okay.
So
maybe if I take it a step further back.
Okay.
When I was young, quite young, I got diagnosed. Diagnosed not officially, as in like by medics and all that, but diagnosed. I call it a diagnosis. I was diagnosed as being very clever. Right, and I'm not being. This is not me bragging about it or whatever. That it actually did tests because I wasn't behaving on school like a normal child would behave. I got bored very easily. So when I get bored, I do what I like doing most, which is talk.
Okay.
So I started talking in the class, and the teachers would always say that, Patrick, be quiet, and then Patrick go in the corner, and Patrick go in the corner. Now, this was back home in Belgium, like just in case people think I have a funny surname. Yeah, I'm originally from Brussels, so this was back home in Brussels. And
Okay.
I was told to stand in the corner a lot. And then one teacher was trying to catch me out and said, like, I'm going to let him talk to his neighbor for an hour, and then put him in front of the class and ask him to tell the class what we were talking about for the last hour. So at the end of the hour, he calls me into the class. He says, Patrick, tell us what we were talking about for the last hour. And I just rattled off everything that he'd said for the last hour. So he was at his wit's end, right? And contacted my parents and said to my parents, I can't work with your son anymore. And my dad, who was a very direct man, as most Belgian people are, said to him, like, well, then you're not doing your job properly. But anyway, so they kind of got me like kind of, well, diagnosed is a strong word, but like, you know, as in I was in the point something percentile of like, you know, IQ. Now I know at this stage in life that IQ is not the measure of everything that exists, but at that stage, when you get diagnosed with that, you get put into the best school. Mm-hmm. Even though it was a Christian Brothers school and my parents were atheists.
What age were you then?
I was about 9.
And were you aware of that you were smarter than anyone in class?
Yes.
And how did it make you feel?
How did it make it? Actually, it made me feel bored. That was the thing, bored, because, you know, when you're like that, luckily, and I'm going to interrupt you, but luckily I was good at sports.
Okay, that was going to be my question.
Did I? Yeah, okay. So because otherwise I would have stood out, and standing out, you know, at that age is not necessarily a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But I was a bit of a jock as well, which helped. So there was an escape route for me into running and football, soccer, as they call it here in Ireland, right? Yeah, so running and football, I was quite good at running. I won medals with the school and all that, middle distance running. We had an athletics track in the school I was on, etc. So that was kind of my escape at a young age. Deep down, what I knew, even at the age of 11, 12, I knew I wanted to perform. Right? I had a sense, what I now know is that I'm an extrovert. Mm-hmm. I had that sense that I'm predominantly extroverted, right? And I wanted to perform. I wanted to be on stage. When there was a theater set up in the school, I was the first one to go, I'll go on the stage. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, me, look at me. Please put me on stage, right? So that's what I wanted to do. But when you're diagnosed as clever in the society we were living in then, and still to an extent now, you put on a route to academia. Right, so you're put on like, oh, you need to study. So what university is he going to attend? So I did try university for 3 years.
So essentially, so I'm interrupting you here. you were diagnosed as being clever when you were like 9 years old, but no one asked you really what route you wanted to go down. You were just marched down a route that you were presumed, because you were super clever, that you had to go down.
Yeah,
wow.
But that's the way our education systems function. Right?
Yeah.
We're creating perfect employees or managers or professors, or like, we're not asking people, what is it you want to do? It remembers me of the famous quote by John Lennon when he was asked by his teacher, like, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, happy. And the teacher said, you didn't understand the question. And John Lennon responded and says, no, you don't understand the answer.
It's right? True. Yeah, it's true. So look at how many kids, you know, I've just 2 children who've just gone to, well, one just finished uni and one in the mid, just finishing, and they both wanted to go, which is good. But I know there's plenty of, you know, I do acupuncture. There's plenty of teenage girls and boys that I see stressed out about their exams here in my clinic, but who don't want to go to college, but are being pressurized by parents to go. And I would say, why don't you sit and talk to them and discuss what you want to do? Because it's quite scary. And then they go to college and you spend a lot of money on accommodation and fees. And then the next thing, they drop out after a year or 6 months, or they just go mad when they're there and they drink too much or find drunks. Or whereas if you'd actually sat down, there we go, sat down and spoken to your child, that you'd figure out, you know, sometimes you can live your dream through your child too much, can't you? The things that you failed at, you're trying to put through them rather than stepping back and listening. So yeah, it's true. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, that's okay. No, it's like the vicarious living. We do that in other ways in our lives as well. Like, our sport teams need to be successful for us to have a good weekend, right? So the ones we follow, so it's that vicarious living, something that we subconsciously do continuously as human beings without even thinking about it. You know, it's kind of like the payment. Yeah, I need to be, my favorite needs to win Dancing with the Stars, right? Because, you know, and we do this stuff continuously. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not judging it. It's just being aware that we do that continuously. So we do that with our children automatically. Right?
It's actually very interesting. Again, I had a client who was with me who is a psychiatrist. This was a good few years ago when my older children were smaller, and we were talking, and he was asking about my kids, and I told him they do horse riding. So every weekend we'd go off to a competition. Some weekends we'd win, some we wouldn't. And on the way home, we'd analyze why we didn't win, you know, what happened, what did the judge like, why did we go on the wrong leg, or miss a fence or knock a fence. But it would be, you know, you'd be disappointed. But the following weekend, you'd have to go out and do it all again and try your best. So he said it was one of the best life lessons I could give my children, because they'd win sometimes, they'd win some days and they shouldn't win, and then lose some days and they shouldn't have really lost, and then to win because they won because they were the best on the day. Do you know? It's yeah.
The difference being that it's them doing the participating. It's not sitting in front of a screen hoping someone else that you are no connection to, like that they actually win because they deserve to win, right?
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing that we do. Anyway,
that's
so
true,
when you were talking of college, so when I was pushed down that route of academia, I needed escape routes, because that's the only thing that was presented to me, and that's a lesson in itself, because like that's what people do, that's what we all do, given the choice. As if they're like, we don't believe we have a choice in this. Like, I was pushed by people through this rank. So the only thing I had was an escape route. And for a while it was sports. And then when you grow, when you were like, at the time in Belgium, I think the age for buying alcohol in the shops was 14. And for drinking in the pub was 16, right? So it's very easily accessible. And it's the easiest access route. And there was 2 really easy accessible escapes that were available to me when I was younger. One was alcohol and the second one was weed, right? So we used both of those, right? Because we needed to escape from that prison we were in, that, like, you know, because, and this has nothing to do with my parents, because they were amazing and lovely parents, right? And they really cared. They just had their way of doing things, and there's no blame attached to that. That's just the way it goes. But I needed to escape, and I tried them. I was involved in gangs. I was like, there was all kinds of stuff happening. There was several people, friends or people that I hang around with, that didn't make it to the age of 18. when I was growing up, through either suicide, overdose, one got stabbed, you know, that kind of thing. Like, so it was kind of, it got me away from academia to show the escape route, but it got me into a space where it was not necessarily all rosy in the garden. It was difficult. And so because this is a long story, but I ended up at one part of my life sleeping rough for 6 months, because that was another escape route, right? If I escape and I just go live somewhere where I get no responsibilities and there's nothing for me to worry about, maybe that's the escape route I need to take. So that was 6 months. That was like self-enforced homelessness, if you know what I mean. Right. So there were several escape routes which I tried when I was younger, and then I started traveling, and then I started, you know, that kind of way. So there was constantly a search for like escape routes, not for a solution to the problem. It was always like, where can I get my next fix?
Who would bring you back from those? You brought you back yourself. How did you do that?
Because things would happen. You can't live a lifestyle like that and not expect things to happen. Right? Near deaths situations. One. Or simply going like, if I keep doing it, I can't do this anymore. Right? In your own head. But often enough, it was something happens. Like you get robbed while sleeping rough, right? Or you get involved in a fight and you go like, that could have gone horribly wrong here, and you reflect on it afterwards. Later on in my life, when I did end up in corporate, it was the same thing. It was a burnout, or it was a stress attack. There was always these pivotal moments where you go like, I can't do this anymore. And I realized that I'm incalculably lucky that I'm still here, because at several stages in my life, I could have been unlucky just once, and that would have been it. Right? So there was always these pivotal moments where you go, right. But then the question is, what do I do now? Because you realize this is not what I want. Don't want to do this anymore. What do you do now? And it's easier to find another escape route than to search for the real you and to discover what it is you really want to do, and like to rediscover that. So that was always easy. So these kept coming one after the other, these escape routes. But
they weren't healthy ones for you.
Not always. No, there was one or two. Like, you know, there was one or two things that led to me making right decisions in my life. So it's not all doom and gloom, right? So there was really right things that happened in my life as well.
What were the good things that happened?
I met my wife in 94. Well, now my wife in 94. So that was a good thing to happen. That didn't
I presume she's an Irish
everything.
woman, is she?
She is, yeah. 100% dub.
That's what brought you over to Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I mean is not always, but there was still a search going on, and there was still the search was still leading to escape routes, right? Rather than to discovering what it is. And it took one man who is totally unaware of his role in my life, because I don't even know where he is right now. But it took one man to send me one book to finally click that there was something else out there. So I was standing inside an Extravision store. Do you remember Extravision?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at one stage in my life, I left corporate because of a burnout. And I thought, sure, retail management, that'd be easy, right? After coming from corporate. Only Extravision were open 364 days a year. And yeah. You're managing a store, which means, like, you know, you're in charge of that store. So when the alarm goes up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're the one toddling up to see if there's someone breaking in, or, you know. So I was standing in an Extravision store in Limerick one day, and I got blurred vision, chest pains, left arm, you know, that kind of thing, in the store, right? And there was one person working with me that day, and I said, I'm not feeling well. And I decided, because I'm a bloke, right, I would walk to the GP, right?
At least you decided to go to the GP. Some of them wouldn't have even done that.
Well, no, but I had chest pains and blurred vision, so I had to do something about it, right? So I said I'd walk to the GP. When I walked into the GP's office, which was about roughly a mile from the store, so I walked into GP's office. The the receptionist went, Jesus Christ, or something to that effect, ran into the doctor's office. The doctor kicked the patient there, pulled me in, put me down. Anyway, lucky, again, I was lucky. It was only a severe stress attack. It felt like a heart attack, but it was only a very severe stress attack, right?
Only.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I go like, great, can you give me something so I can go back to the store? Right? Not very clever. But anyway, so he said, no, you're not going anywhere near that store for a week. He said, who do you work for? I said, he actually, good man, right? The GP, wonderful man, rang up the head office and said, like, I'm giving you instructions. This is me. This is my address. This is me. I'm a GP. I'm Patrick's GP. This man, I'm giving him a week off work minimum, and I want to see him again before he goes back. This is what's after happening. I'm telling you, he cannot go back to work. So he handed me the phone, and HR told me, you're not allowed to go back to the store for a week. So
how did you feel about that? Because often I know you can be so guilt-ridden when you're being told that you can't work. You know, the guilt of job and money and, you know, all of those things going in your head, letting people down.
I was so unaware of what was happening at a deeper level. All I wanted to do was like, well, I'm not really ill, so I'll go back to work. It's a conditioning. That was my escape route then, right? Work was. So it's that there was always something. It wasn't always negative things like alcohol or weed, but there was always an escape route there. Right?
Yeah.
Only I didn't realize it at the time. Anyway, there is a man in head office who heard of my story, and his name is Bill Hallidan. And Bill is an ex-army officer in the Irish Army. And we had chats at management meetings before, because I served in a tour of duty in the Belgian Army. It was compulsory military service when I was younger. And I know this sounds really weird, but I thoroughly enjoyed the tank regiment, the year in the tank regiment I was in. It was an extremely enjoyable experience, right? For me, it was very physical. It was outdoors, which is what I am. And it was like really no thought patterns, no thinking. There was no cleverness needed. You just carried out tasks that were laid out for you. And, you know, I really enjoyed that. Anyway, so we had chats, him with his experience. Anyway, so he connected with me at that level, and he said, I'm going to send this man a book for the week he's up, so to keep him busy. And he sent me the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of Stephen Covey's books, bestseller. And I started reading that book, and in that book, they mentioned coaching. Now, coaching related to me because I told you I was a bit of a jock. So coaching as sports, you know, there's a connection between sports and coaching.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the kind of coaching they mean, but like, let me look into this, right? So I looked into the coaching. What is this? I started looking it up. And what is coaching? And they were talking about life coaching and business coaching. And I did a bit of research and came across the Irish Life Coach Institute. And then contacted them saying, like, what are you all about? And I was talking to Adrian Mitchell, who still leads the Irish Life Coach Institute. And he said, we're running a course in Limerick if you were interested. It's a full qualification. It's an academic year course. It's like 8 months long. And he told me everything. He said, like, you can apply for it and we'll interview you to see are you fit for the coaching diploma. And I went, oh, that'd be something lovely to do. So that was 2006, summer of 2006, and the course started in September or October 2006. And I remember going to the first module. It was Saturday and Sunday in the Castletroy Park Hotel in Limerick. And I came in the first Saturday, and Marcus McKeown was there. And Marcus is this wonderful kind of presence of a human being. As I see it now, I thought he was a lunatic that Saturday, but like, you know, anyway, that's a different story, because he literally said, there's someone here of a watch, and this kind of director of a company in the Shannon pre-zone, like, had this really expensive watch, and he goes like, I have a watch here. It's like, you see, I don't wear one, right? But, and he said he took the watch and he just flung it into the corner, and he said, like, you'll learn in this course that time is a concept that you need to get rid of in your life. And we'll go like, that fuck is this man talking about? Anyway, so then he started talking about like the perceptions of good and bad and of right and wrong. So I was listening to this. This was completely new to me, right? Because I was brought up really binary. Everything, something is either good or bad, right or wrong. So when this man started explaining the idea of perceptions and concepts and stuff, and I was really intrigued. So here was something that I needed my brain before. Remember, I was diagnosed as clever, but I also could be creative with, which is where the guy that wants to be on stage and like perform and talk and stand on with a microphone in the middle of a group of people and entertain them, and like, you know, that's where it came in. So I got really intrigued by that. So by the time of module 2, I handed in my notes before getting the diploma.
Really?
Yes.
It had that much of a powerful effect on you?
Yes, yes. I knew intuitively, I knew this is what I was going to do. So I graduated in May 2007, which means that in 2 months from now, I'll be practicing as a coach for 15 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that was the D-Click. It was that one book. So often enough people say, like, what changed your life? And you go through all these things. And there were several steps leading up to this. I'm aware of that. But sometimes it can just be one human being doing one thing really selflessly that can click your life. So be open to other human beings, not telling you what to do. He never told me what to do. This is the beauty about how you help other human beings. You don't need to tell them who to do. You just create a space and then offer things to them and see, will they take it or not? And if they don't take it, that's fine. He offered me that one book and it changed my life.
You could have gone, yeah, whatever, and left it.
Yeah,
but you
exactly.
chose to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was sitting at home for a week, so.
Wow, that's so amazing. It's a bit, yeah, that's so true. So I did the same as you. I did life coaching. I did a course during lockdown, actually. And the same thing for me was life-changing for me, different ways of reframing situations. And, you know, not feeling hard done by myself, you know, that this wasn't fair on me, but I had to look at it, and that took a lot of, you could feel the kind of resistance in my chest to go, well, you know, as in like being sorry for myself, but actually looking at the bigger picture made me think, well, you know, maybe that is situation, I have to look at it differently. Maybe I'm not right in this way. But yeah, that really was life-changing for me as well, doing that course, I have to say. And reading, not so much reading a book, it was just listening. I did it through Tony Robbins. So listening to him one day and then doing the course was amazing. Yeah, so I do relate to that. But it is that resistance that I felt to start with, like, that's just ridiculous. But then once I reframed it, it started going around. So that's amazing. So that's the same again for you. And then you also do business coaching as well.
This is how it evolved then, because at the start I was doing, because it changed my life, I said, like, well, I want to do the same for other people. So what I started doing was one-to-one life coaching. And I did that for a long time. Now, setting up a business, I don't know if 2007 means anything to you, but it was the start of a deep recession.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I came into like, I don't need to work for anyone anymore. I'll work for myself. And then the whole world economy collapsed. So, but the will was so strong, and everything that had happened was so strong that there was no way. I didn't need an escape route anymore. I didn't need the security of a job or that kind of stuff. So it was like literally, no, I really want to do this. And so what has this grown into over the years was some life coaching, and then I started offering career coaching services because I had hired so many people in my life. And I have a very proactive way of career coaching where you're not applying online, you don't need a CV, you don't need any of this stuff to get a job, right? You just need to connect humans with humans. You need to connect solution with somewhere where there is an issue. And so that evolved, and now basically what I saw was a gap. And the gap is between when a lot of therapists and a lot of people I've met who are therapists come from a corporate structure. Not all of them, but a lot of them come from corporate structures or from being employees or whatever, and then come into self-employment. And there's a big gap there, because like, if you don't know how to run a business, even as a practitioner, that's tough. That's really, really tough. Like, how do I do this? So I would describe myself now, after 15 years, as a holistic business and life coach. What that means is there is 4 things that drive us, right? The things we like doing and love doing, our beliefs, our strengths, and our values, right? So they're the 4 drivers. I call them the 4 drivers. Can you see how that relates to a business? Most people can't.
No, they wouldn't. They would be, you see, when you say holistic, people would be like, oh no, that's woo-woo stuff straight away. They wouldn't believe it. But but it isn't at all. I know that, but a lot of people don't believe that. They just go woo-woo, that's it, not listening to that, la la la. But it's not, it's true. You have to be in a good place yourself.
Yeah.
To run your business.
Yeah, if you whether it's a holistic business or any other business you're running, or whether it's about your career, because this doesn't have to be about your business only, it can be about your career. You imagine, can you stay longer in a place of work or in a business where you do what you love doing, where you work from your strengths, where you have dealt with all your beliefs and doubts, where you know what your values are, and you work from those? Right? That's not woo-hoo. That is building something based on your own personal being, on your strengths and your values, and working from that out, rather than being reactive to what you think other people need.
Yeah. From
within you build yourself up from your own personal values and strengths. And then when you've done that, when you've done the foundation, because that's, I don't care if someone runs a business for 20 years and has 700 employees, when I go through those 4 things with them, they surprise themselves, every single one of them. Whether it's a solopreneur in a startup business or someone who's run a business for 20 years, they go like, I did not know that what I was doing was against that particular value I hold really dear. So if I make that twist in my business, that I start working from that value out, and then boom, they see their business transform, because they had never thought of doing that before. Right? And when you've done that work on those 4 key areas, then you can start looking into your finance, your lifestyle. Do I exercise enough? That kind of thing. What personal development routes do I need to take, etc. So then there's practical stuff. There's 8 areas of practical stuff that you can work around. Do I have enough time for my family as a solopreneur? How can I build that in? I also work with people on what lifestyle do you want? And they go like, what do you mean? It's like, right, well, what lifestyle? What's your lifestyle? What's your desired lifestyle? And they go like, have you ever written that down? Nobody has.
No.
They go like, I want to do
this,
that, right? Because like the business people would go like, well, I'll make as much money as I can so I can spend it on all the stuff I think I need. And holistic practitioners said, oh, I'm really happy not making a lot of money. They go like, really? Okay, so but what lifestyle do you want? And when you ask people what lifestyle do you want, and you work with them, they're very reticent in the start, like, like, oh, maybe I want to go on a holiday every year. And like, but when you really open up, then they go like, well, actually, if I had the money, I would do this, 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 and this, because look, it aligns with my values, it aligns with my likes. And we go back to the first 4 things we talked about. And then when we've written down the lifestyle, then we actually go cost that. How much would that lifestyle cost you a year? And when you've done that, then you say, well, now you know how much money you need to make as an employee, or now you know what you need to charge your clients to get to that figure. So it's all aligned, it's holistic, which means it's all aligned, mind, body, and soul. You get paid enough to cover your lifestyle doing what you love doing. It's simple. The side effects of that for the last 12 years for me means I don't have a GP. I physically don't. In the beginning, when they came out with COVID and they said, you need to go to your GP for your vaccinations, I said, that's funny because I don't have one. There is no GP that has any records on me because I haven't needed one for 12 years. I haven't even gotten a cold. I never got the sniffles for the last 12 years. I haven't even gotten a flu, nothing for 12 years because of a certain lifestyle that allows me to do the things I love doing, the way I love doing them. I do them when I want, where I want, with whom I want, and how I want. Literally, based on my values, beliefs, and strengths and likes in life. And when you balance that all out, again, for people who are listening, holistic means not just what you think it means mind, body, and soul. Right? So I exercise, I eat right-ish, right? I have excesses, I'm only human. Right? But I also meditate every day, because that's been proven to really, really be beneficial, and there's science behind that. So there is things I do every day. So every morning I get up and say, like, what 3 things do I want to do today? Not need to, not have to, not should do. What 3 things do I want to do today? One of them might be, I want to have a hot chocolate, Belgian, of course. I want to have a hot chocolate with marshmallows on top. And I'd write that down. And I make sure I pass a truck or a shop and I go, like, go get a hot chocolate with marshmallows on top. If you do that every day, 3 times 365 is 1,095. So I get to do 1,095 things I want to do every year.
That's pretty cool.
It is, isn't it?
When you look at it like that, it's so cool.
It's like, why not? So the whole concept now, what I'm working on now, is like based on personal experience. It's like, if you took the time to do this for yourself, with me or someone else, if you took the time to work all that out for you, you'd be able to have a life while making a living. And that's the whole point. And then you do. I spend most of my days doing things I enjoy doing. And
very few of us do that, actually. I know that. Some do, not all of us, but like a small minority.
Yeah,
they do.
And then the question obviously is, yeah, but can I do that? Because like my circumstances are different.
Yeah, you put up blocks.
I'm not like you because I have kids. I'm not like you because I have a bigger mortgage. I'm not like you because I have a
yeah.
Fair enough, and I understand that. And yet every single person I've talked to after about 1 or 2 meetings go like, so I can then. Right. And that's scary for a lot of people.
Yeah, so that means, very scary.
So what you're saying is, like me, I can do that too. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Also very empowering, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's fun doing that as well.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, the recognition on their faces to say, oh my God, I actually can do that too.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
But I work in a company, Patrick, where I deliver auto parts to garages, and well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. There was a guy who was 63-year-old, 2 years from retirement in the bank, said, I can't do this for 1 more day, Patrick. Right? This is a good few years back. He's now selling paintings that he gets commissioned from worldwide, because he's an artist deep inside. He wasn't a bank director. You're never too old. It's never too late. It's kind of like, you know, I think people need to hear this, right? Yes, you can, right?
Yeah, no, I love that, because I remember having a client in here with me, a lady, she was 44. She was separated from her husband and she had a daughter. And she was like, that's it. My life is done. I can't do anymore. And I was like, but you're only 44. Nope, I'm old. That's it. And I was like, and I remember something like that with you. I was like, well, what's your heart's desire? What would you like to do? Is it like, would you like to go to Spain on a holiday? Would you want to go walking on the beach? Do you? And she's like, she hadn't thought of any of those things, the possibility that she could do those things. It just was, her life was over and that was it. Like, do you go out with your friends? Do you, whatever it was, do you get your hair done? Just something for her. And we worked on that a lot, actually. And she started to see possibilities for her life, that it wasn't over. She was only 44, but that's what happened, actually. And we were saying that before we started the call, that you work with 85% of your clients are women and not very many men, because you're the first honorary man on this podcast, which is brilliant. Yeah, which is really good. So it's about women, when they get into their late 40s, early 50s, because we coming to the end of our fertile years, and menopause is seen as you're past it, you know, cronyism and all those type of things, that it's really great to hear you saying this as well, that there is still life in us and we can start a business or create more life within our jobs and things like that. Yeah, it's really good.
I read somewhere from the ESRI, the economic think tank in Ireland, that I think it was the ESRI, don't quote me on that, that
Okay.
more at one stage, a couple of years at the start of the pandemic, that 50% of all startups were people 50 or over.
Wow, I did not know that.
So no, because how much experience have you had if you worked for 30 years of your life? Right? You're the ideal person to start up a business or to start up something for yourself. Imagine all the experience you've got. You know, like, so you look at this, you look at this every time, like, you know, when you're a therapist, even, because you talk, or whether you're running a business, whatever it is you do, actually, you know, you've all this experience behind you. You've made it through all the moments in your life, right? You've made it through all the fantastic moments in your life. You made it through every single challenge you faced within your life. You made it through every single time that someone said, you're not good enough. You made it through that. And you're still around. So all those experiences together means like you're the ideal person to actually start anew.
So it's actually so funny you saying that, because if I'd ever be talking to my kids, like Hannah's 25 and James is 20, and I would say to them, like, it's not that I know more than you right now, it's just that I've been here longer than you, so I have more life experiences. That's the only difference. And I also say to them, like, as much as I've watched you growing up to this point, you've also watched me grow up to this point, and I'm still growing. Like, I still, you know, it's so true, isn't it? And I just love, again, that from life coaching, that's something that really taught me that I'm still growing. I haven't stopped growing, and there's still huge potential for me and for everyone else. Yeah. And
for everyone. And like, you don't need to know where you end up.
No.
Just go.
Yeah.
You know, like,
just try it.
Just go, like, you know, because I've had people like who said, like, well, I'm going to get from Limerick to Dublin now, Patrick, and I know I need to go there. I get exit 29, I get on the M7, then I get off exit 4 and whatever. And what happens if there's roadworks on exit 8 and you need to get off? Would you know without a GPS to get to where you need to go? Right? Or are you just going to go like, right, just like, let's see where that leads to. And then you end up in Monasterevin and you go like, I've never been here before. Let me stop and have a coffee and have a look around. And then you meet someone in the coffee shop in Monasterevin and they go like, Patrick, have you ever seen or ever heard of? And then you all of a sudden end up, turn around and drive back to Cork because someone said, there's something really nice you need to see there. And that's how life works, right?
Yeah, that's such a good analogy. It really is a great one, actually. It's so true. It is true. It's being brave to take that step, isn't it? That's not, you know, not allowing fear stop you.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Well, Patrick, thank you so much. You've been a really inspiring guest. And if anyone wants to work with you in life coaching or business coaching, how can they get in contact with you?
There's a couple of ways. I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Predominantly two easiest ways are on Facebook. Right, under my name, it's MERCIE. I'm the only one with that punny name, right?
I'll tag you in this as well.
Or LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Right. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So there are two. My company is called the Intentional Academy. Not the International. I need to change that because people always say like, so the International Academy. I said, no, the Intentional Academy. And the reason for that is because I don't get people fixated on goals. I set clear intentions with people. I have the intention to go into that direction. I have the intention to do this next. I have the intention to do that. So they don't become fixated with a point in the future. They can actually travel along with their intentions on their paths, right? That's
such a good idea, because sometimes if you reach your goal, then you get there and you're like, oh, what do I do now? So it's just your intentions, isn't it? Continually coming.
So for instance, as a long distance runner, it is my intention to run as often as I feel like, for as long as I feel like, as often as I feel, right? And that's a very strong intention. So, and that's led me to 124 marathons. So.
Wow, 124.
Yeah.
Where was your most extreme one? Where did you go? Which one?
No. Well, extreme is a funny word because like.
Well, no, where was the one? The
most enjoyable one?
Yeah, say that
the most enjoyable one is every last Saturday in May in a place called Ballyvaughan, County Clare.
Okay.
North Clare.
It's beautiful down there.
It is beautiful down there. And Fanor Walking Club, who are a walking club that, Fanor Beach is a really beautiful beach.
Yeah.
So Fanor Walking Club organized the how's it called? It's the Clare Burren Marathon Challenge. It's a predominantly off-road marathon through the Burren Hills.
Oh, wow.
Farmers open their fields just for that day to let the runners through. And you literally go from sea level to 800-900 foot, drop back down, go back up, drop back down. It's absolutely spectacular. It's a beautiful, beautiful race. And there's no time limit, so you can actually walk the marathon. There's also a half marathon, I think, but like it's really, really, it's one of my favorites. Absolutely, every year. Yeah. I
just have to finish off with this. My dad and my sister ran in the London Marathon, and they entered me in it. Now, I used to ride racehorses, used to be a jockey, and I used to have to run a lot to keep myself fit as well. And running was not my favorite thing. I did it, but because it was my intention was to get fit. So I'm using your words there, so that I could, be really fit to ride. But they entered me in it, and I was never so happy in my whole life that I got balloted out. I have to be honest. I just was like, go Dad and Lil, my sister, but me, no. No,
we all have our own things. People try to say like, so should you not go into this Ironman? Because I love swimming as well. Yeah. The Ironman and the triathlon. Yes, I did 20 minutes on a bike and I'm bored and I throw the thing in a ditch. So like everyone has their own stuff, right?
I know, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So thank you again, and I'll tag your name in the post and share the name of your business, and then anyone that wants to contact you can contact you. And also, I always forget to say this, but please subscribe to the channel as well, to anyone, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Lucy. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you.